Jones we're looking for. This one's a lot more creepy. This is a 2013 movie, Mr. Jones, and it's a kind of found footage film, but not quite. Basically, it follows a couple as they have taken a year out from their lives to move to a kind of remote location. The guy basically kind of wants to sort of film a documentary about nature, and his wife is kind of who's a photographer, is kind of just going along with him to support him. She's given up her job, so pretty much given up everything to go and live in this kind of like sort of wilderness somewhere in America. Anyway, they kind of end up in this kind of remote sort of quite a nice little cabin, I got to say. It doesn't look too badly furnished considering. Anyway, they're there kind of filming for a little while, and I think around sort of day 52 or something, they say, they end up finding out they're not alone. And there's this kind of mysterious and enigmatic figure who kind of lives nearby. And, strange things are starting to happen at this sort of point. And they find out that he may well be this kind of very kind of elusive artist who's just kind of been dubbed Mr. Jones. And Mr. Jones basically in the past has made these kind of very kind of bizarre and kind of macabre, almost scarecrow like sort of mannequins, and kind of sent them out to kind of random people, it seems. And they're worth 7 figures a piece, we're sort of told. So they're kind of very sort of sought after. And these two people think they kind of stumbled upon his lair, and they kind of, we sort of see weird things happening in the background, and there's a couple of sort of strange events, and being dumb people, and this is what people do, they decide to break into his house, and find out that of course it's all kind of filled up with this sort of weird stuff, and at a point in the movie you've got the husband sort of goes off to New York, and the wife stays behind and sort of try and sort of find out a bit more, and they kind of. This sort of film sort of almost is, you can split in two, because the second half of the film gets very kind of weird and trippy. Now it's worth noting, I guess this is a mild spoiler, but the husband states in the movie that he's not taking these type of drugs. Well, he's told he's taking this type of drugs beginning of the movie, and he's run out. And I got a feeling this plays into it. Anyway, in the second half of the film is kind of just very weird and trippy, as we're kind of led to believe something supernatural is happening. Either Mr. Jones is kind of this kind of creepy, evil witch doctor or something, or demon, or this kind of this dream world is somehow encroaching onto the kind of the reality. Anyway, and it's a very kind of bizarre, sort of trippy experience, and this is kind of what I mean, where it's not really a found footage film, because it just, I won't go into too much detail without spoiling it, but there's basically not, there's sequences which aren't found footage, but they kind of have this weird excuse for it. So, what is the film like? Well, an interesting film, like I said. I think it's trying to be a little bit too arty for its own good, for a start. So, it leaves you a bit perplexed, I think. You'll come out of this film not really knowing what you kind of just watched, I think, for a lot of people. I don't know if it's meant to have this kind of hidden meaning. To be honest, I think maybe it's designed to kind of be left up to your interpretation to a certain degree. First half of this movie did have a nice sort of creepy atmosphere. I have to say the characters, although they were kind of well acted, I didn't think they were the most sympathetic characters, because after all they do break into this guy's house, and at one point they do steal something as well. So I'm like, it's kind of hard to root for them, even though this sort of Mr. Jones is a creepy guy. Fair enough. It still makes these other guys thieves and trespassers. Anyway. And, there are some kind of spooky moments. More of an atmospheric type film. There's not a lot of, for example, actual horror on screen or gore. A lot of it is kind of implied with sort of sound effects and kind of, there's a few jump scares here and there. But the second half of the movie just kind of, it's just very hard to watch, because you don't really know what's going on. It's kind of just it's a bit like metaphysical, I think, and kind of just tries a little bit too hard to be disturbing or scary or whatever, and it just comes across as being a little bit of a mess. So that was a little bit disappointing. Some people may like it. It's obviously thinking, right, let's make an arty horror film. This is what we'll do. Just make some random shit, throw it together, and kind of we'll call it a movie in the second half of this film. Because that's pretty much what it seems like, if you ask me. If you disagree, please let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are about this film. But overall, it was kind of interesting. I would avoid the trailer of this, because I think it maybe spoils a little bit. But, You know, it was okay for a kind of a different type of horror film. Kind of there were some things that irritated me about it. So I'm going to give this movie, let me see, a 4.5. What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.